Join us as we journey into the heart of Africa.
As we explore the expectations of the masses against a backdrop of
war,
famine,
war.
Good governance is vital.
Socio-political change inevitable.
The struggle continues.
How do we face the challenge?
On Channel Africa, every week, we are joined by experts, political analysts and correspondents who will help answer these and many other questions.
Tam Tam Express on Channel Africa.
An African Odyssey. In the early 19th century, Haitians rose up and overthrew both slavery and colonial rule. It became the world's first black-led republic and the first independent Caribbean state when it threw off French colonial control and slavery in a series of wars. The Haitian Revolution was an earth-shattering development in the struggle for the emancipation of labor all over the world and remains a shining example. So, what happened to this frontrunner?
As the first slave colony that had a successful rebellion against the most powerful army at that time, our independence was not well taken. We had, even after earning our independence, we had to pay a steep price.
Haiti is always referred to as the poorest nation in the Western Hemisphere. How true is that? Welcome to this edition of Tam Tam Express as we revisit Haiti and dig a little bit deeper into Haiti's destiny and ask, how does Haiti plan to solve its current problems?
We have realized that the problem of Haiti should be solved by Haitians. Haiti doesn't want to go and be begging for help. We think our problem, we should solve it ourselves.
I am Fazila Dahal. Assisting me on the technical side is Babi Masheba.
Tam Tam Express explores
reality,
mystery, dream, aspiration.
Tam Tam Express on Channel Africa.
Haiti has been plagued by decades of poverty, environmental degradation, violence, instability and dictatorship. Haiti is prone to earthquakes and the latest in 2010 was devastating. Nature hasn't been kind either to Haitians, but Haiti has the potential to reverse its misfortunes. It is mostly a mountainous country with a tropical climate, not to mention the beautiful beaches, and it could become the preferred tourist destination in the Caribbean. To tell us more, I have in the studio the first Ambassador of Haiti to South Africa, His Excellency Stephan D'Ennery Dejoie. Your Excellency, thank you for joining me on the show.
Thank you, Mrs. Dahal. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Bobby, for having me here.
First and foremost, Your Excellency, let us set the scene with some music from your country. You make beautiful music in Haiti, very similar to the Creole music in the Indian Ocean Islands.
Yes, we can play as an example a new artist, young artist that we have from Haiti, Mika Ben. I think if we play that song that we call Haiti, it will encompass many aspects of what the island has to offer.
Haïti, c'est belle la mer, c'est belle montagne ak belle rivière, c'est belle plage ak pied cocoyer, bel paysage ak belle couleur. Haïti, c'est sant café ka monte nan nem les matins, c'est sant la ouze ek fèk pose, pou flézize ka boujonner. Haïti, c'est bassin blé, cascade pichon avec sodo, c'est Acadien, la citadelle, c'est la bâtie ak marigot. Haïti, c'est la vallée, c'est Port Sali ak Zabrico, c'est Mon la sel pik Makaya, c'est Mamlad ak Mon Pilgoro. Haïti, son douce macos, c'est yon point pistache grillé, son gicolé qui pouban force, son bouteille cola bien glacé. Haïti, son bon griot, son bon frita, yon bon tasso, son bon légume avec sirop, son bon tiri avec la l'eau. Haïti, son bon bouillon, son soujou à tout piment, son bon cassave avec mamba, qu'a trempé dans la casse. Haïti, son bon domboué, qu'a mariné, non bon sauce poisson, bois cochon, bon clé. Haïti, son bon café d'histoire. Haïti, chérie, jamais aimé. Moi, vin déposer ticket, moi, non, mais. Haïti, chérie, jamais adoré. Pas un cap, je me fais, moi, quitter. Haïti, chérie, jamais aimé. Moi, vin déposer ticket, moi, non, mais. Haïti, chérie.
Mika Ben on Channel Africa with the song titled Haiti, which is the Creole version of Haiti. You are listening to Tam Tam Express, and my guest in the studio is Stephan D'Ennery Dejoie, Ambassador of Haiti to South Africa. Your Excellency, now that we have set the scene with this beautiful song that so aptly describes Haiti in Creole, it is your turn to tell us more about your country, which has a lot in common with Africa. How would you introduce your country, Haiti, to our listener?
Well, what I can tell you about Haiti is that Haiti is the first daughter of Africa. Haiti, in a simple word, is the first independent black republic in the world. A country which is rich in culture, very hospitable, and I think that has, despite so many years apart from his origin, still kept so many similarities with Africa. This is one of the reasons the government, Martelly Lamotte, wants to integrate the African Union.
Yes, so we know about that. It wants to integrate the African Union. You want full membership in the African Union because you feel you are an African country? You are part of Africa?
Not only we feel that we are part of Africa, we are part of Africa. Mm-hmm. As our Prime Minister had said at the 22nd Summit of the African Union in Addis, Haiti is Africa in the Caribbean.
Mm-hmm. Which bring me to this part of your history. Your country paid a very heavy price for freedom. Let us backtrack a little bit briefly to that period in Haiti's history.
Well, you know, at one point, Haiti was what we call the pearl of the Caribbean, the richest French colony in the area. We have paid a very dear price for our independence. Many men, women, and children have lost their life because our ancestors felt that no longer we should tolerate colonialism and that slavery was not acceptable. As the first slave colony that had a successful rebellion against the most powerful army at that time, our independence was not well taken throughout the power at that time. And we had, even after earning our independence, we had to pay a steep price, what we call indemnization for earning our own freedom. I do believe that we paid 90 million francs, which is now probably 21 billion US dollars for our independence.
That's a lot to pay for your freedom.
And a freedom that we had earned, but this is the past. This government now.
So, yes, before you carry on, Your Excellency, given the heavy past of Haiti, what happened to this frontrunner?
What happened to this frontrunner? We've been having some hard time, but this time, nowadays, we have realized that the problem of Haiti should be solved by Haitians. Haiti doesn't want to go and be begging for help. We think our problem, we should solve it ourselves. And one of the most important thing, President Martelly is now addressing is the education system in Haiti, because we believe that this is what will get us out of the difficult period that we are in. Because if you remember, I know you know pretty well about Haiti, that at one point in the late 50s, Haiti sent a lot of professionals to help build the education system in many Francophone African countries.
Channel Africa.
Coming up,
we feel at this point that now finally we're coming back home, being in Africa. And we are looking forward to re-establishing a South-South cooperation between Haiti and our forefathers here in Africa.
Tam Tam Express, the show that goes beyond borders, the show that breaks down barriers, the show that informs. I'm talking to His Excellency Stephan D'Ennery Dejoie, Ambassador of Haiti to South Africa. More when we come back.
Ayo! Let me see what the march towards freedom and justice is irreversible. I have spoken about freedom in my lifetime.
I'm Emma. I think women should test when they are pregnant because I never tested and my baby is positive and it's so hard to live with a positive child.
We are victims not of a colonial power coming from Europe. It's the first time that in Africa the colonialism came from within, and that is the tragedy.
We grew up in a country that was very restrictive, and we were never sure whether we could achieve the types of levels that white people were going to achieve very easily simply because of their skin color.
What can a 14-year-old girl wish for on Christmas Eve?
That morning, they said we must make our wishes.
Lauren comes to me and whistled on my ear and said, "Can I ask for a kidney?" I said, "Yes, you can ask for a kidney."
Welcome to this edition of Tam Tam Express. Let me tell you a story.
There was a conspiracy theory between the United Kingdom and the United States of America to keep this silent. And we have produced documentary evidence. In court, those administrations put it black and white that we should keep this very silent. We should not attract any criticism on this before the UN, and we should even do worse. We should create a fiction.
Channel Africa, the voice of the African Renaissance. We are talking about Haiti and Africa, a common identity. My guest in the studio is His Excellency Stephan D'Ennery Dejoie, Ambassador of Haiti to South Africa. Welcome back. Your Excellency, the month of May is Africa Month. Do you celebrate Africa Month?
Well, the month of May as well is our Flag Day. The 18th of May, the May 2014, is going to be 210 years since we have been celebrating Flag Day in Haiti.
Mm-hmm. Haiti and Africa, a common identity. Haiti, as you've mentioned earlier, Your Excellency, is Africa in the Caribbean. Let's move on to the relationship between Africa and Haiti. It must be remembered that it is from here, especially from West Africa, that the slaves were taken. A very dark period in the history of Africa when its sons and daughters were chained and sold as slaves. A time to reflect on the sad past.
This is what we call la traite des Noirs.
Yes.
Where when Christopher Columbus discovered Haiti, it had a drastic elimination of the native in Haiti. So to work the plantation, they had to bring African slaves that were captured against their will and brought to Haiti to work. Just to open a small parenthesis, I think the wreckage of the Santa Maria of Christopher Columbus has just been discovered in the northern seas of Haiti. I believe at one point Haiti counted about 500,000 slaves. This is a painful past that we are still struggling to overcome. And we feel at this point that now finally we're coming back home, being in Africa. And we are looking forward to re-establishing a South-South cooperation between Haiti and our forefathers here in Africa.
Mm-hmm. Today you have an elected president. You have President Michel Martelly. What have been the priorities of this government, given the challenges, of course, that you've had to face?
You know, when President Martelly got into power, his task was and still is an enormous task. After the 2010 devastating earthquake, he inherited a country that needed almost to rebuild totally everything. The priority of the government is first education. And this is the first government in the history of Haiti that has a social program for the poorest of the poorest. We're working on bridging the social inequality that exists in Haiti. We can draw some similarities at what has happened within those 20 years that the ANC has been in power, how they tried to bridge the social inequalities. And this is what the government is trying to do in their way forward to build up the country.
Not only you've had to face political instability, but you have also had to face natural disasters. The 2010, I'm referring to, devastating earthquake took its toll on an already impoverished country. How did Haiti rise up to that challenge?
I think the Haitian people is a very resilient people. We will rise up to any misfortune. We are working together along with our partners and friends of Haiti. We still have a long way to go, but we are working in overcoming those difficulties.
But added to that, Your Excellency, cholera surfaced from the debris. Is it under control? How are you coping?
I can say that the cholera has diminished tremendously, not tremendously, but has diminished since the first outbreak in October 2010. I think since then we have had over 8,000 deaths due to cholera. At this point, new infections have declined from a peak of, I think, in 2010, 350,000 reported cases to a little more than 50,000 now.
Channel Africa.
Tam Tam Express on Channel Africa. We take a musical break now. More on Haiti when we come back. Please announce the singer.
This singer that we are going to play now is an ex-mayor of Port-au-Prince. This is a very well-known gentleman, Manu Charlemagne, who has made many songs against the struggle of the dictatorship.
La vie douce, mais c'est pas tout le monde qui jouit privilège ça. Gagne une série de mots, c'est pour une catégorie yo existé. Bonheur, joie, contentement à gaieté, yo pas jamais joui moment ça yo. Yo la ya vive au jour le jour en espérant yon mieux demain. Si n'après chita tan, nous gain pour nous passer toute vie la salle d'attente. maman nous te la donne, papa nous te la donne, nous-mêmes nous rentrer là dans l'épirette. C'est tous ces fonds nous pour lutter, car la manne pas tomber encore. Soleil éclairé pour nous tous, dès nous tous va joindre même chalet. Soleil va éclairer pour nous tous, dès nous tous va joindre même chalet. Soleil va éclairer pour nous tous, et tout le monde va joindre même chalet tonnerre.
Manu Shalmai on Channel Africa. There you are. Beautiful Creole music from Haiti. My guest in the studio is His Excellency Stephan D'Ennery Dejoie, Ambassador of Haiti to South Africa. Welcome back. Your Excellency, in my introduction, I said Haiti is always referred to as the poorest nation in the Western Hemisphere. How true is that? Is it true?
We certainly don't believe that Haiti is the poorest nation in the hemisphere. At this time, Haiti is going through some difficulties. We do have a lot of challenges to overcome, but we are working on it. Haiti has a lot of natural resources.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, there is right now a South African company that has made a study on the natural resources that Haiti has, and I think the report has just been given to the government. We will know the outcome pretty soon of what we have in Haiti.
It seems that Haiti's fortunes are about to change. Do you have oil in that region?
There is speculation that there's oil in Haiti, but so far we don't have the scientific evidence, and I would not like to speculate on that. Also, I would like to mention that Haiti has the 54 prettiest beach in the world, and we are here to work to invite our brothers and sisters in Africa to soon come visit the beauty that we have to offer.
Yes, I've been to Haiti and I know about the beautiful beaches, just like we have in Mauritius or the Seychelles. There was a time, though, when Haiti was a tourist destination, and one of the main attractions was the voodoo culture.
I think within the next few years, we will again take the lead as a touristic destination.